Okay, welcome everyone. This is May Prince. We're here for the NFLPA bar exam prep course for week one, May 15th, 2024. I'm going to get started here with the presentation side of things, which is going to start with our welcome. So let me go ahead and make sure everybody can see the full screen when that comes up. So let's pop this up here. All right, can everyone see the screen there?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the one main thing I want to tell you guys, again, welcome. Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate the opportunity to guide you and instruct you on some key elements that help me pass the exam, along with 60% of the people that did a study group with me last spring that passed their exam. And about the things that we're going to go over, the content, there's there's about 2,000 pages of information that's out there that you will have to kind of navigate and filter your way through. I'm going to give you some highlights and the things that were on the exam that will help you pass the exam. It's not going to go into every little detail in the collective bargaining agreement. However, the collective bargaining agreement has approximately 39 questions that are on the exam. And above those, I'm going to give you about 60 of them. Not that I'm not giving you the answers, because nobody has the answers, because they keep changing it every year apparently. But I'm going to give you what has been in the seminar for the last 5 years or so, as well as what you're going to need to know within those categories of based on the 2024 test specifications. Okay, so has everyone received their source documents? Let's start with that first.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. So that's a great start. So I want to make sure everyone's got the source document. So follow along in the same aspect of those source documents. I'm going to break down these next 10 weeks. You're going to get a syllabus here in about 60 seconds, and then we'll go over that after we talk about this little intro. But the collective bargaining agreement, because it is so vast and so big, we're going to break that up into 3 weeks, 3 different parts. This week will be part 1. Those reading assignments based on that quiz assignment was based on part 1, which was the free agency and the salary cap. So those are what those questions were based on. There was a little bit of a monkey wrench I threw in there about moving and travel expenses, but everyone looks like they got that correct. So if everyone looks at their email as of right now, or the next 60 seconds, you should be getting an email with the course syllabus in there. Let me know when you guys get that email. Ba-boom. Everybody see it?
I haven't gotten it yet.
Hopefully. No? Okay.
I don't got it yet either.
Me neither.
8:05. That should have went out. But anyway, so the course syllabus, again, I want to go over this all at the same time so everybody's on the same page now, so you have something to look forward to understanding of what we're going to be going through. Oh, here you go. I just got it. Okay. There it is. Oh, I see where it is. So it's in your thingamajigger. It's in the coursework. Sorry here. Coursework, and this is syllabus. Did I see it there yet? Or I'm gonna have to go into, and I'll just pop it up. How about that? Okay. Well, I'm not going to wait for that to keep happening because whatever it's doing, it's doing. But you guys see my screen here where it says bar exam course syllabus.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So the duration of the course, again, 10 weeks from today until July 17th. As you prepare for the seminar, will be the week after this. We will do we'll do our own preview towards the end of the 10 weeks, and we'll see that on here in a second. But just so you know, the course will be ending just before the end of the end of our sessions will be the beginning when you guys get ready to go for the seminar. The one correction is that this is be on Wednesdays. You guys are not on the Wednesday list. This is be on Wednesdays from 8 to 10. And then it'll be the same thing with this Google link that you guys will get. Everything will be in our classroom. A lot of the stuff is going to be duplicated in our classroom. So you'll be getting emails from the calendar. And when you guys get a chance, check your emails or check your calendar. Make sure you RSVP. When you accept that calendar invite, that will automatically put it on your calendar. That way, it'll automatically be there. There are notifications on there that'll give you kind of a heads up and a reminder 3 days before, 2 days before, a few hours before, minutes before, whatever, just so that you can kind of keep up with its pace for what you guys may be doing with your regular lives, as well as your work schedules. This prep course is for the active participants to prepare for the National Football League Players Association licensing exam. This is merely an opportunity to prepare for collectively and to share explanation and concepts of understanding of the collective bargaining agreement and the NFLPA test specifications provided for the exam materials. Throughout this course, we will cover the outline of the test specifications and source documents for the NFLPA exam. So everything I just talked about earlier, again, everything that you're going to need for the exam, besides the regular concept you should already be studying, I'm going to give you some key highlights and elements that you definitely need to be aware of and you'll be able to need to master. Okay, the point of going through this in a way as instruction to be able to master is so that you can recall the information easily when you go through those questions. Okay, the questions on the exam, again, a lot of it's not real deep. However, just because it's an open book exam, I'm guaranteeing you, and you'll probably see other people do the same thing. If you know anybody that's already taken the test, you will never, ever be able to flip through thousands of pages within 3 minutes. It's going to take you at least 60 seconds to read some of those questions, sometimes more if you read them twice, and then you have to read through the answers. So the best way to be able to answer those questions, hopefully you're using that as a backdrop, but on the front side of it, oh yeah, now that they went through. But on the front side of it, you should be able to recall some of the answers. So like one just quick little thing. If you hear, we're going to talk about this in a second anyway, but when you hear accrued versus credited seasons, if you hear accrued, that means it's about the free agency period. If you hear credited, that's going to be about benefits. So those are things you'll be able to automatically recall as you read through those type of questions, okay? So learning objectives and outcomes from going through the course, understand the highlights assigned by the topics, discuss the topics on a weekly basis, what we're going to be doing. Apply learned topics to oral and written concepts, and simplify the complex material in a manner for explanation. Okay, for the quizzes, again, I want your goal to try to get 100% on the quizzes. You definitely need to try to read through, if you haven't already done so, do the reading assignments on a weekly basis for those quizzes. I'm going to get those out to you a little bit earlier today. It'll go out tonight around 10:30 or so. Hopefully not 10:35. The way this went out with the syllabus. Did you guys get that email with the syllabus?
Yeah, I just got mine.
Yeah, that notification. Yeah, I just saw it pop up on mine too. So that is scheduled to go out around 10:30 tonight. You get it before midnight, hopefully, prayerfully, depending on how the system is going. And then the written essays, again, the written essays is really all of this is about making sure that you are taking in the information that you're reading, you're understanding it, even if it's not even about the specific questions, but as long as you're understanding the actual concepts to what you're reading, And as I go through it and show you, you'll be like, yeah, I got it now. I got that. Now it's actually what we're talking about. Because there's a lot of things, especially for the people that finished the quizzes so far. Some people are going to get, again, quizzes was due yesterday. However, when I give you one of the questions that we're going to go over, everyone got wrong, and there's a simple reason for that. And it's one little thing that has to do with something else is the reason why you missed that question. And that's how the actual exam is. It's not, I can tell you that it's not about tripping you up. It really is about making sure you understand those basic concepts so that, again, when you're talking to your clients, when they become clients, if they get signed to a team, they get drafted to a team, if they're undrafted to a team, there are certain specific things you'll want to be able to recall right away and be able to spit that out. Remember, clients, they don't know anything of what you know. And basically what they're turning to agents for is to be subject matter experts as much as they know, okay? Even though the scaled score is 70 for the exam, that is not 70%. It is not 42 right questions. I'm telling you that now if you haven't already known that. It's not 42. You're what you want to be shooting for is like 50 to 55 questions. Now, let me see. What is the thing called? You guys know how anybody play golf?
Yes.
Okay, so you know how you keep your strokes and obviously on the card, but there's also a tally count. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you cross 5. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, so when you are preparing, and you can practice it now, but definitely for the test, you'll be able to have your own scrap paper, but you should have a whole separate scrap paper so that you can do that. So the ones out of the 60 questions, you're going to know probably 40 of them like right off the bat. You're going to know them. I'm telling you, you're going to know them. So when you get to questions that you know, just mark it on your little sheet. You say, oh, man, I know I got that one. Ones that you want to come back to, you can. Again, I'm pretty sure this is going to be online virtual again for right now, but you can mark it with a little question mark to come back to something, right? So don't waste your time on something. If it's way too long, don't waste your time on it. Go to all the ones that you know that you do know and just make a little tally mark. And as you get through it, I'm telling you, when you get, like, man, I know 20, 30 of these already. You'll feel a lot more confident as you go through the test and look at those questions. Not a lot of questions are more than 300 words long. There may be one or two. There's not a lot of them. They're not real long, but it should only take you about 60 seconds to read one question and then read through the possible answers. Again, those are test specifications. Going down to student expectations, as a student in the NFLPA bar exam prep course, again, I want you guys to participate. I know there's a few of us on here. This is an intimate setting. This is an intimate call. And again, we went over the written assignment about what is your why. Again, this whole testing situation is hard. It's really hard. And again, people think that open book is easy. And I've heard from a couple of different lawyers that thought, oh, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. And when they took the test, they're like, man, I didn't have time to go back to it because they're used to flipping through pages and then reading things. Yeah. By the time you flipping through pages, it's already too late. So definitely remember your why, because over the next 12 weeks, is going to be the most difficult time and challenging time for you. And that should be okay, because here's the best part about this whole situation is that after the next 12 weeks, when you take the test, you take the exam, it's over. Like this, man, big sigh of relief, go get a steak, go on a trip, whatever you want to do, but it'll all be over. And you'll never have to go over and take that again, because you guys, A, you're going to pass it. And B, when you get that notification in September, it's going to, again, everything is going to turn around quick, fast, and hurry. But when you get that notification, you can have a big sigh of relief, because now all it is about is just paying your dues for the next 100 years or however long you decide that you want to be an NFL sports agent. So, and the next thing here, talking about the assignments here. All of these assignments, again, based on 10 weeks, as you can see there, week 1 is where we are now. We'll talk about part 1, then part 2 and 3 for the next 2 weeks. And then you'll see in week 4, after we go over the salary information, we're going to have a midterm prep review. And then we'll do just a quick little midterm exam. And again, instead of the 20 questions, you might get like 30 questions or maybe 40 questions. But again, those questions, like right now for week 1, you got 20 questions. I'm going to give you enough questions so that you can A, be familiar with these new questions, or B, see these questions and be like, okay, I understand what that is or where that is. If you don't have tabs already, if you guys want, I know we got some of these. Let me see what I can see that you can see. Oh, you can't see me. Yep, there we are. So you guys see my little tabs here?
Yes.
Okay, so these are different colored tabs that go across the top as well as go across the sides. The same thing with the collective bargaining agreement. Just showing you here, so you can see how these tabs are. There's like a bunch of tabs in here, okay, and the tabs at the top are based on the article. These tabs here on the side are based on some concepts and philosophies inside the collective bargaining agreement. And for me and for a few others, that helped a lot when there was a need to flip through the CBA because you could go right to it. Now, also tonight, when you guys get that secondary email, in that email, there's going to be an attachment that is going to have, yes, I know, I see, I'm going a little bit over. On that is going to have an attachment like this. And what it is a CBA article index. Okay, so as you know, the CBA is huge. Okay, you're not going to be able to read through all those things on there. So just like I told you about those tabs at the top and those tabs on the side, what you'll see is it'll have what the terms are or terminology, and then where it is in the CBA, and it'll tell you what page it's on. And then there's another column there that'll say review that you can check off to make sure, and as you're studying and going through your studies, check off that you went through it and you know that. And that way, when you get all the way down to the bottom, again, okay, so I guess we didn't talk about me, but so I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, even though I'm bicoastal between Philadelphia and Los Angeles. I am from Chicago, Illinois. I'm from the west side. That's the best side. And my family still lives there. And we have this phrase, because there's a lot of gangsters and gangbangers in Chicago on the west side. We have this phrase that it's better to have enough bullets and not need them than need them and not have them. So as far as information and studies goes, I'm going to make sure you guys have enough information. You'll be able to decipher it. You'll be able to categorize it, organize it. And I want to make sure you have all this information so that it's there for you, because it's better that you have it than if you don't have it, because eventually not having some of these key elements and tips, you're going to do that thing that other people thought that they were going to do is, oh my God, let me go to the CBA, look at the table of contents, and let me flip through these pages and find these answers. Yeah, that's going to take you forever. And then by that time, you will have answered like 20 questions. And you'll be like, dang, I mean, I know I got all 20 of them right. I'm missing 40 other questions. So that's also going to be in that email attachment that you guys are going to get as well. Also on here, let me go over this last thing. Yes, I see it. There's an NFL draft negotiation simulation in week 5, June 12th. We're going to go through a lot of information, but we're going to break it up a little bit, make it, somewhat fun. But I'm going to give you kind of an insider scoop on how you get to some of these draft numbers, how we get to, I didn't see draft signals yet, but I'm sure Mark Levin and we're going to send you draft signals too from 2024, because we haven't finished everything. We haven't finished all the negotiation, but you'll get some type of draft signal, so you'll be able to read through and locate those columns in the signals that are also going to be on the test. Like it'll ask you, what does this SB $ mean? And then you'll know that means signing bonus, and that'll be the answer. That'll be an easy thing to find. You'll see on there P5. It'll be on there, 3, 4, 5 times, 4 to 5 times, depending on when that is, and we'll go over that here in a second too. So all those things will be in there, but we're going to go over a nice little draft simulation so you guys get used to it and know what it is. The football, NFL policies and procedures, we'll go over those type of things. Then we'll go over the rules governing contract advisors. And then again, we'll go over a prospect recruiting simulation before the week after we get ready for a final exam, I guess, post expectations and business development when you become an agent. This is after you pass your test. After you take your test, you guys are going to pass. So after you take your test, these are things you want to be looking out for between July, August, and September, which those 90 days, 3 months, they come quick, fast, and hurry. And I'm not sure what you've talked with anybody else that's already passed the class or passed the test, but when that comes up in September, you really have approximately 3 weeks to come up with nearly $5,000. So giving you guys a heads up, you're going to have to come up with the money for not only for the annual fee, and then you have to come up with the insurance, which I think Reggie on here does real estate, but the insurance is mandatory that they suggest for you, or not. I don't kind of call it suggest. It's like they tell you which one you're getting, and then you just have to pay for it. And that's all there is to it. And then you have to determine where you want to get registered and what states you want to get registered in. Some are free for sports agents. Some are like $300, $400, $500. So it depends on where you live. And I'll show you guys all that kind of stuff later on as well. So that's it for the syllabus type things. Okay. So I'm going to flip back to going over the pro course. Is everybody, I know I may have talked a little bit faster. Let me slow down. Does anybody have any questions on what we just talked about as far as the syllabus?
No, I'm good. It was straightforward.
Okay.
Okay. And I like the pace. No, pace is great.
And again, there is in the presentation, of course, it also is being recorded, but you can tap the little button at the bottom to raise your hand. Okay, so you see the little hand there, because if I do that, I do that a lot. But if I talk too fast sometimes, just raise your hand, just speak up and say, hey, man, I got a quick question, like right now. Johnny, go ahead. You got a question, Johnny?
Yes, I have a question. I received an email. Is this something that's going to, because I don't know, I had trouble downloading the syllabus. So is it downloadable or is it?
Yeah, it's downloadable. B, it'll also be in your materials on the classroom portal, so you can also get it from there as well. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, and then the second question I had was on the quiz that we submitted.
Yeah.
Will we have access after the let's say after this class? Do we have access
Absolutely.
to that? Okay.
Yep, I'm gonna release it. I'm gonna release it right after we get done, because we're gonna talk about that towards the end today.
Got it. Okay. That's it. Thanks.
Yep. Daryl, go ahead. You had a question?
No, I was just testing the functionality of it.
Okay. All right. No problem. All right. Any Given Sunday. You guys remember that scene in Any Given Sunday when he was like, anybody got any questions? He's like, go ahead, man. You got a question? He's like, nah, coach, I just want to be the only one that didn't have raised their hand when you was talking. But anyway, okay. So going through part of the slides presentation now. Okay. So free agency system. And again, you guys have your pen, taking a little bit of notes as you can right now. But again, this is recorded. I'm going to put this recording in our number 7 weekly discussion recording, so you'll have it there as well for you to get it, keep referencing, going back to stuff you should see in your readings. I'm giving you the highlights of the readings that was on the exam in 2023. Okay, so whenever you think about or hear or see free agency questions, just think accrued seasons. And remember, accrued seasons is going to have to do with free agency. So that means 6 or more games. 6 or more games that they were on the active inactive list. Okay, that's getting full pay. Okay, that's part of an accrued season. Obviously, you saw on the quiz, there were some questions on there. But again, guys get injured. Okay, they can be on getting an accrued season for that or accrued game for that. You just have to make sure and find out what list that they're on. If they get on the exempt commissioners list, then that is not going to count for that accrued season. That will count for the credited seasons. But in terms of where we are now talking about the accrued season, there are 4 categories of unsigned free agents when they get to that point. So that UDFA is where a lot of guys are right now, is undrafted free agents. Okay. Then there's those exclusive rights free agents. And then there's the restricted free agents. Okay. When you're looking at and then unrestricted free agents. When you're looking at those questions, okay, anytime you see the acronyms UDFA or it'll be spelled out undrafted free agent, either one of those, you immediately in your mind know that the contract length is 3 years. Okay, anytime you see undrafted, you'll know the contract length is 3 years. Okay, and then when it goes from there, and then anything that's part of that question that'll ask about, what is that prorated amount based on, and then again, when you go into your calculations, you'll know, okay, well, I don't need to max this out at 3 years. Okay, now same thing with drafted players. Anybody that's drafted, if it just says drafted, you got 2 things: round 1 and everybody else. So 2 through 7. So anytime you see the words player A was drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers, well, drafted, now you obviously know that it's going to be at least 4 years. And then if it says he was drafted in the first round, that's going to be 5 years. Always keep in mind, knowing that a first round pick gets a 5-year contract, but the 5th year is club optional if they pick it up. And then there's a time frame, based on important dates. There's a time frame when they have to pick that up. Okay, so again, even as I'm saying it and talking it, and it sounds like I'm talking maybe a little bit fast, when you're reading questions, you're going to read that way too, because what the psychologists have is that people read approximately 200 words per minute. People speak about 240 words per minute. But when you're reading that, you're going to read right through that. And as soon as you see that this guy's a first round pick in your mind, instantaneously, you should be thinking 5 years, 5th year optional. So he'll have those 4 plus that 5. Anybody else from 2 through 7, round 2 through 7, they just get a 4-year contract. And then, of course, undrafted, the undrafted guys get 3 years. Okay, so those are things that will be quickly and automatic for you. So here's some basis of NFL player contract system. The minimum salaries, good for all rookie negotiations. Accrued season versus credited, we just talked about. Again, accrued is 6+ games, credited is 3. Accrued is for free agency, credited is for benefits. Okay, anytime you hear about credited, they're about to ask you, okay, these are the benefits that this guy should be getting. And now you're thinking about in your CBA or your source documents, you'll have something that's dealing with benefits, whether it be that booklet or whether it be the trust. There's a lot of information in there about, what are those benefits guys are looking for. And again, one of the questions we went over earlier. Okay. And again, just talk to you about the 5th round picks and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Free agent categories, exclusive rights free agents. Okay, again, these are highlighted things that are on the exam, and as you're reading questions, you want to pick this out immediately. Okay, an exclusive rights player has a player with 3 accrued, less than 3 accrued seasons. So remember, let me see, I'm gonna pop somebody up, and this is going to be, it is what it is, since you were my last person. Daryl, how many games is an accrued season? No, it's a question for you,
6
Daryl.
games or more.
What? Say it again.
6 games or more.
Absolutely. Very good. That's what's up. Okay. So 6 games or more. Now remember, teams hold those contract rights. Okay. Offers received eliminate other teams' negotiations. That is specifically for exclusive rights free agents. Okay. Now, again, part of your important dates, which is also again part of your test specifications, and again, I'll give you a list of those things as well. Some of those may change a wee bit just because of the calendar, but that's why they give it to you from the CBA standpoint. The signing deadline is the 10th week of the regular season for an exclusive rights player. Okay. A restricted free agent. Okay. This is a player with more than 3 accrued seasons. Okay. So a restricted free agent. Okay. Qualifying offers are due by the league year start. That means it'll be beforehand. So, Tony, when is the start of the league year?
Is the league year going to be by the CBA of the 20? So, because the league year ends 2030, yes?
Yeah, but this is a month. So we're looking for a month and a day. Month and a day.
Not June 1st, July 22nd.
No, March.
March 1, right?
Yes, it's approximately March 13th. It's when the 13th and the 15th is when the league year starts. So next year, if we look at the calendar, look at 2025, that would be, well, it looks like it'll be the 12th. Okay, that Wednesday. So Wednesday the 12th would be the end of the 24 league year. So the start of the new league year for 25 will be on the 13th. Okay, so it's the middle of March, that second week. Tony, go ahead.
So, a quick question on the accrued. So, when we have less for the exclusive rights, does that mean, or could you safe to say that they have to have at least 18 games or less?
Not entirely, because again, you're thinking that 6. Well, if it's a minimum of a minimum at 18 games, yes, but you don't want to look at it in games, number of games, because that's not how it's going to be written on the test. Okay, I see what you're doing and adding them all together, but a guy could, like one of my guys, he's played technically 5 years. However, he only has two. He has 2 accrued seasons, even though he won the Super Bowl. Capri Bibbs won the Super Bowl 50 with the Denver Broncos. So don't just think about counting it in terms of games. Make sure you count it in terms of the years when they say how many games he's played, right? Because year 1, he could play all 17 games, but then so that gives him 1 accrued season. You see what I'm saying? So that's 17 games. But again, if he plays in the second year and he only plays in 4 games, well, he's not going to get an accrued season. He'll get a credited season, not an accrued season. You dig what I'm saying? And that's 21 games. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. And then,
Yeah.
because then this is okay, perfect.
You dig? So always think about in terminology, word wise. Again, it's not theoretically it's supposed to trick you, but it is testing you to make sure you're paying attention to the actual word accrued on the questions. Johnny, go ahead.
Question. So basically, the exclusive rights free agent is just to ensure that this player doesn't go anywhere or doesn't get picked up by someone else, right? It's
Yeah, I mean, again, that eliminates other teams from trying to negotiate with him. So, when a guy gets to that point, so for example, who would be the first type of player getting an exclusive rights free agency category? Which player do you specifically know? I'll give you a choice: either a UDFA or a guy released after the third year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a UDFA.
Right, there you go. So now you again, when you see those words on an exam, because there are a few on there that say undrafted free agent, and then it'll be a question about who holds his rights, and you'll automatically know, well, the team that originally gave him that 3-year contract, because he'll have 3 or less accrued seasons, because the maximum of his contract originally was 3 years. And again, we're not going to get complex and say, oh, but what if Drew Rosenhaus signed him to a 5-year deal? They're not going to do anything crazy like that. It's not to go through all those kind of scenarios. It really just wants to make sure you understand that an exclusive rights player is most likely one of those guys that are on 3-year rookie deals, which is means
so an exclusive rights free agent is always a UDFA.
No, not always, but again, and for test terms, most likely it will be, because again, just so this is for those of you that have been doing negotiations and contracts for most of your careers. Even though a 5th round pick has a 4-year contract, he might get cut after year 1. he can get cut after year 1. This does happen. Okay, so if he gets cut after year 1 and now he tries to sign with another team may say, you know what, we're just going to sign you to a 1-year deal, and be like, all right, cool. Hey, I want to play. I mean, the money is money, but I want to play. So now he goes to another team and he plays all the way through midseason, and then they release him. Well, midseason, as you know, now that's he'll get to the 8th game, and then they cut him. Well, he'll still get an accrued season. So how many accrued seasons does he have now?
1.
2. Remember, this first team he was on, he got that. He played the whole season, so he played more than 6 games. Then, but then, even though it's a 4-year contract, they still cut him. They can. It's up to the teams. There's a clause. If you guys haven't looked at that wasn't on your reading, but if you never read one of the player contracts, in the players' contracts, there's a sneaky verbiage in there. I don't think anybody knows. This is not the crew that are lawyers. There's sneaky verbiage in there that you have to be the best possible player out there. So we are signing you because you're the best. So that's how they cut people. This dude's not really that good anymore. We're cutting him. You see what I'm saying? Right. So they can cut you even like some of those at-will states that are out there too, even if there's those type of things. But again, these contracts are, you can say, well, man, what the hell is the purpose of a contract if you can just void it? Well, they have to have specific reasons. Like, okay, well, he's not really the best. This guy's better because of X, Y, Z, PDQ, whatever it is. But the point is for you, for the exam, again, just like I'm telling you this story, this is going to be the same thing that's going to come to you when you start reading these questions. And you're like, oh, my God, all this fluff and stuff on here. Well, man, they cut him year after year, and he only played in so many games. Well, now I know that he has 2 accrued seasons. You see what I'm saying? So he will be an exclusive rights player. And again, as we flip forward going through the restricted free agents, if he has 3 accrued seasons, that means he's played in 6 or more games, as Tony was alluding to earlier. If you're thinking, okay, well, 18 games, don't you think of it that way, but you'll see that 6 games each year for his all 3 years. Well, now he's going to be a restricted free agent. And again, the offering club will have the first right of refusal, and they'll be able to offer whatever they're going to offer. Okay. And then, of course, that player's got 35 days to explore post-qualifying offer from someone else. And then again, club has exclusive negotiating rights. If they want to say, okay, well, we'll match what they said they're going to give you, then again, they go back and forth with it that way. Okay. And again, they can withdraw that offer if they feel like they don't like your attitude. and that happens too. Yes, Tony, go ahead.
Sorry about that. I just want to clarify. So with the exclusive, it's going to be 3 or less. And then with the restricted, it's going to be greater than 3, not equal to 3.
Greater than or equal to, yes, greater than 3 accrued seasons. And always think of accrued season as 6+ games.
Yeah,
Because
that's
again, we're not. Yeah, and don't forget some of these questions talk about injuries a lot. So you got to be, and then of course just remember to look over your source documents, and injury settlements, and all that kind of stuff on there too. Okay. Now, an unrestricted free agent is a player with 4 or more accrued seasons. Okay, so a unrestricted free agent. So if a guy was drafted, nope. Let me stop. Reggie, what round or rounds could you be drafted to be an unrestricted free agent?
Unrestricted. I guess any round other than the first round, correct?
There you go. Anything from rounds 2 to round 7. So as you're reading questions, there are going to be questions on there that tell you what round a guy was drafted. So they may say, like Mr. Irrelevant, they may say like a Brock Purdy was drafted in the 7th round. San Francisco 49ers did XYZ PDQ. So automatically you know that, okay, well, if this is about the accrued seasons, we're talking about free agency. And now you know, and they're giving you some highlights, he has the ability to negotiate with any club. Any club. Once you basically, if you thought about it in terms of this player has done his due diligence, he's stayed healthy, he's stayed contributing to the team, he's been productive, he's played all 4 years. I guess I almost can't use Najee Harris because he was a first-round pick. But somebody, again, like a Brock Purdy, he now can go play with anybody else. He can negotiate with anybody, not play, but he can negotiate with 31 other teams because he has played his 4 seasons with San Francisco 49ers. Okay. Now the tender deadline is July 22nd. Okay. If he doesn't sign by July 22nd, he can decide, okay, he ain't got to play nowhere. Which, what's that boy's name from the Steelers? Boy from the Steelers did that before he just down. No, the running back. Dang, nabbit.
From the LT, the Damian Thomas?
No, that's from Shorty. That was the Chargers. No, the dude from the Steelers, that is not good. Yes, Bell. Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
Because he's from Ohio. So that's what was going on with him. So when he started bouncing around, and then he just was never any good anymore. Which, again, he sat out that whole next year and decided, you know what, I'm not playing then. And then he tried to come back, and that didn't work out. So again, they have before the deadline for an unrestricted free agent is July 22nd. So as you look at your free agency categories, again, you have 4 there: exclusive rights, restricted free agent, unrestricted free agent, and of course those undrafted free agents. Johnny, go ahead.
So for an unrestricted free agent, even though he needs 4 accrued seasons though, but the earliest that he can negotiate is the day after he completes his 3rd season, correct?
Very good. Yes, it's third season. Absolutely.
Okay.
And then for just so you answer that question, got Daryl, Johnny, Reggie. Get off mute. So Reggie, based on what me and Johnny were just talking about in terms of when a guy can negotiate, when can a undrafted free agent start negotiating his next contract?
He's on a 3-year contract, he can start negotiating after the end of his 2nd year.
At the end of his 2nd season. Absolutely correct. Very good. So now we're getting to Article 10 on the franchise and transition players. Okay. Franchise player is a restricted free agent, notwithstanding the number of accrued seasons. Okay. These are talk about franchise players. It begins, and again, these are part of those key dates. So when you're taking notes on different things, one of the best things to do is even to have like a whole separate paper besides having one on important dates, but make sure you highlight or put a star by anything that tells you about like begins the 22nd day of the league year ending at 4 p.m. This is Central Standard Time. Now, again, when you're looking at the test-wise, the questions, you will see those times in there a lot. And primarily, most of them are 4 p.m. Okay. And again, transition players versus unrestricted or a restricted free agent, all that doesn't matter as much as when a guy gets franchise tagged, these are the things that apply to that specific player. Okay. Transition player, completely free to negotiate and sign a player contract with any club. Does it happen a lot? I mean, it does year after year. It depends on, what a team wants to do. If they are stalemating in their negotiations, they'll say, you know what, we'll just put a franchise tag on. Of course, if they do that more than a couple of times, there's certain dollar amounts that player is supposed to get on that one-year deal, and they can only do that for so many times. For the first day of the league year following the expiration of his last player contract to July 22nd. Okay, so that is, again, that's part of the Article 10 reading in there, but those are some highlights on there. And again, how this pertains to your test is making sure you understand, looking at what a franchise player is. There are also a restricted free agent. As you understand what a restricted free agent is, you're thinking about you're not thinking about his accrued seasons. You're just thinking about, okay, now we're looking at how do they negotiate. And that player is free to negotiate and sign a contract with any club if he gets franchise tagged and that league year ends and he doesn't get signed by the 22nd. So here is a few things on the important dates, okay? Yes. Oh, back up. Tony, go ahead, Tony.
So then if it's 22 days for the transition, would that be April 4th?
Yes. That would be, well, depending on, next year for 25, yes. But again, that's going to be on the 22nd day of the league year ends. But yes, that's absolutely right. Johnny?
Yeah, question. So for some reason this part always confused me. So begins 22nd day of league year.
Of the league year ends, right? So we just identified 2025 is going to end on the 12th. So from the 13th, the 22nd day after, including the 13th, that day, and it looks like what Tony said, that was April 4th, is I believe what he came up with.
Yes, sir.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
So hold on, time out. So 22nd day, meaning from the 22nd day after March 13th?
After March 12th.
After March. Wait, I thought it was between the 13th and the 15th. So it's March 12th then. So the last day of the league year is March 12th.
Right.
Okay.
For 2025.
Yes, for 2025. And so you start you go from 22 days from March 12th?
From March 13th, including March 13th. So you go 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, all the way to 22, and then you come up that 22nd day will be March or April 4th.
Okay.
And again, what will, just so you know, again, because calculating the dates, the time that they're going to be looking for as far as the test may have a whole bunch of fluff and stuff on there, and it'll talk about what the date is, but it'll say what time does his contract need to be signed by. You see what I'm saying? So, and again, you'll be obviously, that 22nd. Okay. So important dates. And again, this is all recorded and you guys are going to get, you'll get an important date sheet. May 1st is a deadline prior to the club send a May 1 tender, okay, to its unrestricted free agents. Okay. So May 1 deadline. Okay, that's what you'll see between your notes and your readings. You may have already seen it. The May 1 tender. Okay, May 2nd deadline is for Najee Harris. If you guys just heard a few weeks ago, Najee Harris, he wanted to be traded, and and the Steelers did not pick up his 5th year, even though he had been 1,000 yards productive in 3 of his first 4 seasons. They did not pick it up. And obviously the reports are that he wanted to get out of Pittsburgh. Don't know what that's all about, but just so you can have a point of reference that it does happen. And when does that happen? They have a May 2nd deadline for clubs to exercise that 5th option or let a guy know, especially if they're drafted in the 1st round. And if they don't want to pick him up, they'll make it known to him. Now it's with him and his agent, you as his agent, try to find him someplace else to play in the next 30, 31 other teams. Okay. We just finally ended this past weekend. It was just before Mother's Day, but the teams, all 32 teams, have an option to pick which 3-day draft rookie mini camp they want. Either between the 3rd and the 6th, which is the first weekend, or the second weekend. That's basically what it is. Either the first weekend or the second weekend. Even though you see 4 dates here, it's only 3 days, right? So one of my guys, Cam Stewart from Bowling Green, we signed him to the New York Giants this year. Now, it was the 4th through the 6th, but they said, you know what? We're going to bring him in on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and then we'll be done on the 5th. So it's not 3 through 6 for a 3-day mini camp. It's between those dates, which is usually the first weekend and the second weekend. Okay, Tony, go ahead.
For the May 2nd deadline, that 5th year option,
Yep.
don't the teams already know like that year 3, year 4 if they're picking up that option?
So, yes, I mean, again, it depends on how your agent's communication is with the general manager and the director of football administration. If you're being in contact with those people around that time, that 3rd or 4th year, then yes, they do know. But again, it may not be known until at the end of that 4th season. Like, obviously, the Steelers, didn't make it to the Super Bowl. So the guy may feel like, oh man, this team ain't going nowhere. I can't even see us. We're not getting any better. I don't want to wait. I just saw who they drafted, because remember the draft is typically at the end of April. You know what? I think I want to get out of here. So it really is it depends on the player and the communication of that agent with the general manager and football administration.
Okay, so there is a discretion with that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and July 17th deadline for teams designated a franchise player. It's time to again, as you see there, that 4 p.m. deadline. Again, mark these things down on a piece of paper. Mark these notes. I mean, again, I know there's a lot, but as you have it in your memory, just think, okay, that's whatever that 4 p.m. deadline, whether it be Central Standard Time or Eastern Time. If you know it says Eastern Time, obviously that's basically the end of the day. If it says 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, that's 5 p.m. end of day Eastern Time. Okay, 4 p.m. is not the end of the day, but 5 p.m. is typically the end of the day. But at 4 p.m., basically, that's when your clients know that they're going to get paid, which is something we'll talk about later on that Monday. Okay, so a lot of guys, especially guys on special teams or guys kind of low on the totem pole, they get you may talk to some guys that may tell you too, but they get real anxious at about 3:45, and they be like, man, like their mom would be this has happened. Guys were like, oh man, my mom keeps calling me. Like, Mom, please stop calling me. Call me at 4:30. Because if that phone rings at 3:59, they may we want to let you know that we're going to be letting you go. And then, man, by 4 o'clock, they have made that notification before the deadline to pay him. Because at 4 o'clock, then they have to pay him. At 3:59, if the 3:59, they don't have to pay him. Because that's a deadline. Go ahead, Johnny.
All right, I just want to be clear. I think you already answered this question, but back to the May 2nd deadline for clubs to exercise their 5th year option. Is that something? And I think you spoke about like Najee Harris. So is that the 5th year option being exercised? Is that enforced by the club, or is that what you just said, that the player has the option, like, yeah, let's go for the 5th, or no, I don't want to?
No. It's up to the club. So even though Najee Harris asked to be traded, right? Even though he asked, Mike Tomlin could tell the GM, hey, you know what? I'm not trading him. We're keeping him. They could keep him. It's not up to
Oh, okay.
Najee. He can
Got it.
say it, but it don't mean that's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
So
Got it.
exercising the fifth option is a club option, not a player option.
So a club decision.
Yes. Yes.
Got it.
So they can decide if they want to or not. They don't have to listen to the players. Players may want it again, but they don't have to give it. Just so
Okay,
happens that, the Steelers were like, you know what? It's more headache than it's worth. Get out of here.
Right. All right. Thanks for the clarification.
No problem. Because then you have guys like Antonio Brown on your team, and you definitely don't want that eyesore. Tony, you had another question? Was that you?
No, sir, I'm good.
Okay.
We're speaking of that team. So FYI, Martavis Bryant was one of my clients.
Okay.
Actually, I was a second agent.
Gotcha. That's what's up.
So trust me, I know everything that went up with AB and Tomlin and Le'Veon Bell and
Yeah. So you
all
see
those
what I'm
guys.
saying? Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
September 5th kickoff this year is Thursday. Just like I think I already talked about this a little bit, sort of kind of about when guys get paid. You only get paid, and again, this goes back to recall memory. Whenever the season starts, players get paid on that Monday after they play in a game. So even just like guys like this year, guys get drafted at all first through seventh round, they don't start getting money unless it's marketing money, but they don't get NFL money until after they've played in a game. So again, as you're prospecting, and we'll talk about that later on too, make sure you let these guys know that, just because you get drafted doesn't mean you get paid, okay? Unless it's that signing bonus. Now, the signing bonus, if most guys will try to get that done, which is happening right now before the spring meetings here on the 20th. But some guys are trying to get their contracts done now so they can get a signing bonus. And in your signing bonus, you can get that between now and July 15th, between preseason camp. But you don't get paid, or players don't get paid until after they play in a game, okay, as far as their P5 salary. If they get their signing bonus, they can get that. However, and the same thing as it pertains to an agent, which is based on rules governing contract advisors, you can't charge any money. What you'll hear me say, but this is over the next 9 weeks anyway. You can't bill clients and collect your 3% or 1%, whatever it is that you're going to ask for. You can't collect money until they get money, right? So if they get their signing bonus, you can bill on that. If they don't get a signing bonus, you can't bill on that. You can't be like, oh my God, we got your contract and you're getting a $1 million signing bonus. You can't send them a bill for that money until they actually collect that money, which is a big deal with the NFLPA. This was 24. That Wednesday was the 15th. 2 day. Daryl, go ahead, Daryl.
Now, in reference to that signing bonus, that's prorated, right?
It prorated for the term of the contract for a maximum of how many years?
What's that? 5.
Right. Okay. Yes, that's prorated. You can get it right away, right? You may get the whole million, but again, that's prorated through salary cap purposes.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, Tony, go ahead.
TMI, but with that proration, I know it's against the cap, but when they get that signing bonus as an agent, do you collect all the fee or do you prorate that, or how do you get creative with that?
Reggie, what is the answer to that?
Oh, that was actually my same question. I was about to ask the same question.
Okay. So that's good. So again, the answer is you can't collect unless the player collects. So if he got $1 million, just using a round number, if he got $1 million signing bonus and it was prorated for the salary cap purposes throughout those next 4 to 5 years, whatever, depending on when he got drafted or picked up or whatever, you can't collect until he collects. So if he collects $1 million, then you can bill him on that $1 million. If he doesn't collect $1 million and say he collects $200,000, well, then you can only bill him for how much?
The percentage of that amount.
Percentage of that 200,000.
Right, of the 200,000. Okay, you just always keep in mind as you read through the questions, because there are several different questions that are alluding to that, as it talks about an agent's fee in that, and the players, paying the commission. How much commission does that player owe the agent? What is the dollar amount? And then again, you got to calculate what it says as far as how much that player received. So if he received whatever that dollar is, that's what you can bill on. You cannot bill if they don't get paid.
Okay, so what if scenario here. So what if let's say he collects the $1 million signing bonus and then he retires. So and then you got paid. So does the agent have to pay that back to the club?
So what you're saying is that now you're talking about forfeiture, which is a little bit later on. Yeah, that's salary forfeiture. And again, it is a forfeiture, so he is going to have to pay that back.
Okay? The agent does.
Yes, well, the agent and the player. I mean, he's going to have whatever that proration that he's going to have to pay back. You got to do that as well. So how you avoid those things, which is again what that insurances are for as well. How you avoid those things, again, this is later on in this in the course, in terms of how to run your business. When you collect money, to put some of that money in escrow. Obviously, you got to pay your taxes and all that kind of stuff, but definitely putting money in escrow. I would not collect money and spend it all as soon as you get it, even though you're going to have that amount of bills. It's highly suggested that you have some money in escrow, because you never know what's going to happen. And especially, I mean, I know we're all guys of a certain age. We have seen and heard plenty of news reports of several guys retiring at 25 years old and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm done. I'm good. I don't want to play football no more. And it happens. And so when that does happen, as an agent, now you're scrambling around. Oh my goodness, I got to calculate how much money he owes the team back, because now I got to give that money back.
Right.
See what I'm saying? And again, and as an agent, which you don't never, ever, 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 ever want to do, get into a non-football injury grievance with the NFLPA, if you don't want to pay it back, you can be like, nah, man, that's my money. Then you're going to have to go through the grievance system and go through those type of things, which you definitely don't want to do, because then it's on your record. So then when guys call in and ask, have there been any grievances on this agent or blah, 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 you're going to have those marks on there. So you definitely don't want that situation to happen. So it's best to do what you got to do as an agent, calculate it, help him calculate it. You pay your portion, he pays his portion, and then you wash your hands, okay? Because again, it definitely does happen, which is why there are not 5,000 NFL agents with the NFLPA. Some people just say, hey, you know what, man, it's not even worth the headache. I'm good. Anyway, all right. So moving on, last two things. Talk about the start of free agent signings. Restricted free agents, March 15th. Again, that's that Wednesday next year. It's going to be the 13th. Yeah, 13th through April 21st. So all these dates are going to fluctuate a little bit. Again, these are all the 2023 dates. And again, as the calendar goes, but you'll see that when you start looking at the calendar and taking those type of notes. Some things that are not just calendar date wise, they are week wise, which is again another important date, is the first week of November 2024, which is the following week 8 of the season. Okay, that's the trade deadline. Now, have you all started navigating the operations website? Do you guys know about that?
No.
So
I've seen it, but I've never really went to it and spent a lot of time on it.
Okay, so in terms of everything NFL, and I mean everything NFL, and dates and anything to do with operations, here's the link that you guys, it's not clickable in here, but it's in my other thing. Let me see if I can just pull it up. This is what the operations looks like. So I'm going to go to it, and I'm going to go on here. Okay, can you guys see that on my screen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the NFL's operations website. So in terms of like rule changes, these are updates, but the schedule, you see all these tabs on here. These are the different things that are deal with operations for for the NFL teams, right? And the same thing if we were gonna search. So if you type in key dates. So you see in here, these are some other, let me just put dates. These are some, there it is. 2024 important key dates, okay? And what you will see in here, and now they update this all the time, right? So this is from February all the way through until the end of this month. And then they'll add more things on here. But as you see in here, from this past year, it'll tell you when the Pro Bowl is, when the Super Bowl is, and you'll also see on here, March 5th, prior to the deadline for clubs to designate the franchise and transition players. Now, again, for next year, for your guys, you won't have any guys that are franchise tagged. You'll mostly have all rookies. But you can see on here that it tells you what and when those dates are. Right. So if you do eventually have somebody that's going to be franchise tagged and there's a question of, well, what's the deadline for that? Now you'll see what that deadline is. That's where you would find out. Same thing with the negotiating period for unrestricted free agents. Okay. It's on here as well. All right. So that's the operations.nfl.com website. Okay. And the same thing is obviously this stuff to do with the draft and the rookie days and all that kind of stuff. Okay. But again, I'm going to give you a list of those dates that you'll need for the exam. Okay, so you'll get a list of dates for the exam. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions on important dates so far?
No, sir.
All right, good. We're coming down to the tutor here. So the NFL draft. Now, you all, again, want to be NFL agents. That means I'm hoping that you've been following football at some point throughout the last 5 years or more. Okay, so you understand what the NFL draft is. As you look at the exam and the questions on the exam, hopefully this will be some of the easiest things for you to recall in your memory. However, there are some nuances that you may not. Okay, so for 2025, now, even though you're taking the test in July of 2024, if they talk about the NFL draft, they may reference the one in 2025. The one in 2024 maybe just as easy. However, certain years, like this year, there were 257 picks. In your CBA, it talks about 256 picks. So depending on what year it is, and how many allocations teams are getting, there may be 256 or 257 regular picks, not including the supplemental draft picks. There aren't a lot of questions about the supplemental draft on the exam. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Quick question. So for the eligibility for the draft, if the kid graduate for this draft for 2025 specifically, if the professional he graduated in 2022, he'd be eligible for this draft, correct?
So when you are, and let me tell you,
by season.
What's that?
It's by the complete season. So 2022, 2023, 2024. 3 years or more.
It's the fall season. Okay, so like when you're talking to players, again, you're looking at their as far as prospecting, you look at the fall and the spring as far as when they played or when they were in the spring game. And same thing if there was any high school players or the guys that were playing JUCO or whatever. As you look at fall versus spring, when you look as far as eligibility Guy was, if he graduated high school in 22 of like, and usually that's in like June. Okay. So even if he stopped playing high school football in December of 21 and he went to a school in the spring and played in spring ball, even though his graduating class was in June, it goes at by the end of his graduating class. So it would be the fall of 22, and then the fall of 23, and then the fall of 24. So he would be eligible in that spring of 25. So you have to be able to understand how to calculate it that way, not just on how many years go by, but how many fall seasons start and end. And hopefully we never have any extended endings as far as regular season, but the regular season typically ends in December.
Got it. Thank you.
And as much as it is to say, that should be, again, more of your guaranteed questions that you know you're going to get right, because that is on the test, and it has been for years as far as a high school player for draft eligibility. Okay. So this coming year, 2025, the NFL draft, as you may or may not know, is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You don't have to bundle up. It's April. It's not that bad in April. So you guys know that the draft could be as early as what month? Question for everyone. What month could the NFL draft be at its earliest? I'm not going to answer it. I'm waiting for y'all to answer. And stop looking it up.
That's a tough one, man.
Better not be. What month is earlier than April?
It has
So
to
I
be
guess
March.
February.
March.
March.
Somebody said February? Who said that?
No. Nobody.
Who said February? Somebody said February. Who said that?
No,
Daryl,
I
was
was,
that
I was
you?
I was counting the months. I'm like, okay.
Nope. I said March.
Oh, that was you, Reggie. You was counting the month. You started with February?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the right answer. The draft can go as early as February and as late as June. However, it's traditionally been in April. Okay. Now, it has not been on the test. It has not. But somehow it does keep coming up in meetings when people ask about submitting bids for the daggone draft. So again, just so you guys know, and you recall that for yourself, as early as February, as late as June 2nd. Okay. The winner of the Super Bowl gets to select last. The loser is next to last in all rounds. So you guys see that. That's why they pick where they pick. That's why, if anyone in here, besides being an agent, decided they want to work in the front office and you want to be an assistant general manager or director of scouting for administration, these are the type of things that you go through in your research in determining your trades for higher picks or lower picks. Okay. You'll know where you're going to be. If as an agent, you are thinking about, man, where could my guy possibly go or what team? Once we get the actual draft selections, you can be able to say, okay, well, these are the teams that are drafting 25 to 28 based on their winning percentage or losing, however you want to say that. Daryl, go ahead.
Yeah. So what would be the benefit of them switching the draft instead of keeping it consistent?
You mean making it in March because it has been in March before. I mean, I guess I'm not that old. I guess I am old, whatever. But it has been in March before. It really is. It really is. I guess rhyme or reason wise, logistics wise, it would really just depend on what's happening with the teams themselves, right? So as of right now, especially everybody on this call, we haven't had any expansion teams in like a long time, right? So let's say there's an expansion team that comes in. So matter of fact, let me ask this question because again, it's about recall. When is the end of this CBA?
2030.
30.
Right.
2030.
Right. Okay. So the end of this CBA is in 2030. However, somebody, I don't know, I'm just using this as an example. Jeff Bezos, who's a billionaire, or even Elon Musk. Let's use Elon Musk because he has more money. But let's say Elon Musk decides he wants to build a team in Montana. And he said, hey, over the next 4 years, I'm going to be talking to the city about building a team in Montana. However, there's a lot of bureaucracy. We got to build a stadium, and we're going to try to expeditiously get that done. Can we figure out making the draft a little bit sooner because we want to do XYZ PDQ things in the springtime versus waiting until later? Because really, and I don't know if you guys know, because I'm an optimist and I love Christmas. There's 27 more weeks until Christmas, just so you know. But in any event, they may be like, you know what? I want to try to get some things done in this time frame. So and then again, it's up to the league and the owners and all that stuff to decide at the owners' meetings if they want to have the draft. They'll probably talk about it in 29. If they want to have the draft in 2030 or 2031 in March, because they're going to have an expansion team coming in the year before. You see what I'm saying? So that would be how they would talk about, how teams talk about why they pick the locations and the time frame when it is. However, in the CBA, because again, it's written and these are governing documents, they would have to do it in that time frame, which is why they put it in the CBA. It's got to be in between February and June 2nd. You dig what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
That makes sense? Okay, good. All right. So yeah, a couple other things that we got to get to here, but I'm gonna flash forward on a couple things. This just came up on the exam itself. Let's see where we go. Go ahead, Tommy.
Sorry to get ahead, but then when they do that expansion team, like the Houston Texans, is that where like the compensatory comes in, like the draft or like how they pick or the owners have to decide?
Yeah, that'll be part of the supplement. Yeah, the supplemental picks in that frame if they get to that point, right? So now it won't be 32 teams; it'll now be 33 teams, and then those 33 teams, and they'll be adding supplemental picks, which is a supplemental draft, and then that's again, based on how the teams negotiate. Or not negotiate, but get their draft selection. So whoever wins the Super Bowl, XYZ, PDQ, all the way down the line. Doesn't mean that expansion team is going to come in automatically at number 1 pick. It just depends on where they fall in that. You got it? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So there was some questions on the quiz about spending. Okay. You got to keep in mind this app again. I can't keep saying everything is on the test because all I did was give you highlights of what's on the test. So the Rambux's talking and whatnot is one thing, but as far as specifics, these are the things that are on the exam. You need to understand where the league years are. Okay. We are already out of the last 3 years. Okay. The last 3 years were 21, 2, and 3. We're now in the next 3 years, which is 4, 5, and 6. And then the final years, because there's 4 years because it's the final years leading up to the end of the league year. That's why there are 27, 28, 29, and 2030. Okay, as far as spending. So how the spending works, the teams have to spend 90% of that salary cap, but it's got to be within those 3 years, 95% in those 3 years. Okay, 90%, 95, 90, 95. Teams got to spend 90%, and it's got to be done in that 95% within those 3 years. Well, these 3 years, right? So right now we're at the beginning of 2024. If they don't spend 90%, okay, if they don't spend 90%, then that's going to carry over into 2025. And now, again, it's all about this salary cap, how these numbers are put out there. It's got to be 95% over those 3 years, okay? So definitely keep those in mind as far as what are the spending rules. Everybody got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if a team fails to actually do this, okay, if they fail that, so we get to 2026 and they have not spent 95% over those 3 years, well, then what's going to happen beginning of the new league year is that technically whatever their penalty is going to be, whoever is on that their roster, it's going to get divvied up amongst all the players on that roster. Okay, if a specific team does not adhere to the spending rules, they're going to have to spend that money. Is going to be their penalty is going to be they're going to be penalized, and they're going to have to pay all the players an equal amount that are on the roster. Okay, so again, keep this in mind because this question is on the exam. And I don't want to and need to keep saying that because I'm telling you, everything I'm giving you is a highlight and a snapshot of what's on the exam. Johnny, go ahead.
So what you just said that if they don't spend, you mean the team or the league? If the team doesn't spend or if the league doesn't, the team, it has to be the team.
Yeah, the team doesn't spend.
If the team doesn't spend, then they got to divvy it up. Now,
right.
Okay, so now maybe I'm going too forward. The shortfall right underneath shall be paid on or before September 15th. Shortfall meaning that money that wasn't spent shall be paid.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And you see how it's the September 15th, as you know it in your mind, as you recall, when typically is the week 1 of the regular season.
September 1st.
Well, yeah, September 1st, September 5th is that week 1. So that first game is usually like that Thursday or that Thursday, Friday, or Saturday or Sunday that of week 1, right? So the 15th is, is like the second week or so into the league year. So those players, and again, if it hasn't been divvied up already, those guys going through preseason camp, if they make it on the active roster on September 1st, they will be paid part of that shortfall. You know what I'm saying? So again, that won't be on the test. The shortfall date will be on the test, but definitely, for your clients, as you talk to them, they think about it, and be like, well, man, hold on. Well, you'll know anyway because they will send out notices. The NFLPA will send out notices to all the agents. Hey, by the way, the Jacksonville Jaguars only spent 94% in the last 3 years. And this is in the year 2026. It'll say Jacksonville Jaguars only spent 94%. This 1% comes out to $4 million. Your clients may be getting this paid. Just be aware of that and let them know. Stuff like that.
Got it. Question. One last question. What about the guaranteed league cash spending? Like, has there been an instance, or is there a rule where they haven't spent the 95%?
No. As far as historically wise, from what I've seen and what I've known, no, there's not been. It has not happened that way. Teams not spending enough money in 1 year. yes, that does happen. But again, that's why you see like Patrick Mahomes' contract. That's why eventually some play. Matter of fact, let's get even crazier. Kirk Cousins won playoff winning contract. That's one of the reasons why he got most of that money. They're like, man, we have to spend this money on something or we're going to get penalized. So who we going to give it to?
That's what I told everyone. Everyone was, there was a big controversy why he got paid so much. And they were like, yo, he's old or whatever. He did, produce, or well, there's based off of his just 1 year and everything. And I was like, no, the team has to spend this money.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, this is the quick reference. So on your exam, there may be a question about Kirk Cousins on the exam as far as his contract. And then they'll maybe say, well, calculating the league's spending threshold, what was the percentage of the amount that Kirk got from that? And then you'll be able to calculate it. But again, they'll give you all that, the numbers information. You dig what I'm saying? So, but in your mind, you just have to think to yourself, well, it's just like you just said, Johnny, why would they pay a guy all this much money? Well, so that they don't fall into the threshold and not spend enough money in that 3-year time frame.
Right. And then plus that QB documentary on Netflix really helped a lot. I mean, I used to talk so bad about Kirk Cousins, and when I saw that documentary, I was like, dude, this dude really breathes and bleeds football. Sure. He has a little room. He goes in there and he studies his plays. And I was like, hey, I got more respect for this guy than, it really made Marcus Mariota look really bad too in that documentary.
I didn't see it, but I get it. Yeah. Again, so it does and could and can happen. Okay. Again, so move forward. So evaluation and renegotiating of a player contract. Again, as we've already talked about it earlier, renegotiating for a drafted player can negotiate until the third regular season. An undrafted player can undrafted player is the second regular season, and then a veteran. This is again. These are all things highlighted to be on your test. A veteran, for you to recall in your memory, a veteran can't renegotiate until after 12 months of his last negotiation. Okay, so similar to Tom Brady. So Tom Brady got $1 amount after he renegotiated with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then they were going to try to renegotiate in between that. They're like, okay, yeah, we got to wait a little bit. Now we can renegotiate. Okay, and renegotiating doesn't mean, okay, well, can he text him and say, hey, how about this amount of money? No. That's renegotiating. They can't do that. Okay. Again, if the NFLPA finds out, and by the way, when you're in the union, the NFLPA will find out anything and everything. I'm giving you guys a heads up. Just do the right thing and don't do anything ridiculous. If you don't think you should get it done, ask the NFL agent well, when you get in, you'll get an email address for NFLPA agent services. Email them and ask them your question. Do not, especially your first to third years as an NFL agent, don't guess. Just ask them. They will definitely tell you. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
So then when they restructured Tyreek Hill's contract in Miami, was that an actual, like, that's not a veteran contract then, because they did the signing bonus. How is that about?
Yeah, so again, when teams are renegotiating for veteran players, okay, so remember he was already, again, played with the Chiefs, and then he got on with the Miami Dolphins. He was already signed to them. They had negotiated his original initiated contract. Them renegotiating after that was following his years, but that's when they can do their renegotiations after he had been there. Okay. And now in that time frame within those 12 months, say this past 2024 NFL draft, they need to restructure and find money. If they had already, the least time they could do it anyway would have, really been 2025. So this time was early enough that it was after his 12 months from the recent negotiation. You see what I'm saying? So Tyreek Hill original negotiation was before he left to Kansas City, and that gave him that one time for negotiation. And then for 12 months before that, as long as, I mean, again, it's already went through, but if it had been 8 months, he would not have been able to do that.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So prior league years, yeah, we are definitely coming down to the end. Prior league years, terms of contract can't be renegotiated. Current season renegotiation can be asserted after the last regular season game. Okay, especially for those guys that don't end up making it in the playoffs. Salary increase, again, that 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time of week 10 is treated as a signing bonus. Again, we're talking about doing renegotiations. So anytime you see the word in a question about renegotiating, you'll, again, keep it in your mind that, okay, so talking about the signing bonus, week 10 is treated, after week 10 is treated as a signing bonus, okay, as far as during that renegotiation. Changing the terms, treated as a signing bonus, qualifies as a renegotiation. So, and then the three types of the three basic types of renegotiations are the pay cut, contract structure, and extensions. Okay, so keeping that in mind as well. Okay, rookie players. Again, these are things that we've talked about. Again, just a regular conversation, which is good because it's going to help you in the future for your, for your recall. But a rookie player, this is the guys that are drafted are 4 years in length. Okay, remember, undrafted rookies are 3 years. Signing bonus is prorated over the life of the contract. Maximum, again, see what we've already talked about, 5 years. Okay, calculating their salaries is that 25% rule. Okay. 25% rule is based on the maximum annual increase of the year one rookie salary. Now, on the exam, again, nothing is to trip you up. However, when you look at what the verbiage on there is, they're going to talk about their year one rookie salary and what is the maximum. They're not going to say if you negotiate 13% of his annual increase, what does that? They're not going to do that. Everything is about the 25% maximum on the exam. Okay, so this was a 2023 rookies. I'm going to see if anybody knows, just by happenstance, what is the minimum base salary for 2025?
840,000.
Right, 840. Anybody know what 24 is?
795.
Very good. See what I'm saying?
795.
Yep, 795. So again, and I did that just to see what kind of recall you guys have. That is how the exam is going to be, and that's how easily you should be able to do that when you're taking the exam for those 60 questions and you want to get 55, at least 55 right. You should be able to recall that type of information immediately when it looks at what's the 2024 rookie salary, 24, 25, 26. And then remember, 0 credited season for salary purposes. Now, again, I know I didn't say this earlier, but so for the credited seasons, it only counts for benefits and salary. So when you look at Article 26, which is going to be your friend forever and ever, Article 26, you'll see 0. That's actually year one. And then 1 credited season is literally year 2, and so on and so on. So keep that in your mind and don't think that, okay, well, his first year, his second year, his third year, his fourth year, and you look at Article 26 and you start counting from 1 instead of 0, yeah, don't make that mistake because the answers on the exam may look like that and it'll trip you up. So don't guess, know that specific thing. The minimum, anything that says minimum base salary, we're talking about 0 credited seasons. 0. Okay. Let me flip back over. Johnny, go ahead.
FYI, make page 171 your best friend.
No doubt.
Who you
Absolutely.
telling? Who you telling?
Like I've got that page engraved in my brain. Like I don't have the salaries per year memorized, but I do have page 171 memorized.
Right.
That's Article 26 salaries. So I always say page 171. I just know to go there.
Right. Yep. That Article 26. You'll always be able to reference that. Again, these are all memory recall type of things. And again, on the exam, when you get to those certain questions, again, you don't need to always be flipping to the table of contents and trying to find it. Just like Johnny said, okay, 171, beat, bang, bam, got it. Or if you have tabs on your notebooks, you'll be able to flip right to it. You know what I'm saying? And make that easier for yourself. Okay. Deals fourth round rookies receive signing bonus and a minimum base salary of 4 years. We talked about that. Veteran players, which are older players, receive some incentives. Contract, this is Article 27, because the article right after 26. On Section 7, lists the terms of 4 or more credited seasons. Okay. Again, this is just for negotiating veteran contracts after their first contract. And this is what we typically tell, between agents and players, what people have told me about what they tell guys, is that let your player know, again, how to save money. This is management wise as an agent. You management wise, man, save your money right now in this first contract, because your real money is going to come on the second contract, which is going to be based on a lot of things, especially if you're A, in the top 51, definitely B, if you're in the top 10, and that's what's going to make more value for them as far as building long-term generational wealth for themselves, especially for a guy like Reggie, when your son comes out of Colorado, for sure, that's what you want to be doing with him. Hey, man, hold on to your money this year, this first contract. There's big money, come on the second contract. That's what we're going to do. Veteran player, 2 credited seasons, base salary counts on the salary cap instead of the actual base salary. Expired contracts. Player may sign a qualified contract with any club. This is veteran players, okay? This is not rookie deals. These are veteran deal. Guys have been playing like 7, 8, 9, 10 years. For benefits, the benefits is a 4-year player qualified contract that have not been designed and approved. No veteran. Again, this is just for veteran players. No veteran salary benefit counts. Okay, so keep all that in mind as well. We talked about the proration of the signing bonus. Matter of fact, how many weeks do players get paid? We can stop it there. How many weeks do players get paid?
36, bi-weekly 36.
Right, 36. Even though, because you're going to get that, there is going to be a question about how you calculate that. But remember, there are 36 payments to players. And how I always tell guys is about, well, just say you get $10,000, you'll get $5,000 in week 1, and in week 9 you get or week 19 you get the other $5,000, and so on and so on and so on. So you move down to 36. And again, bye weeks count as part of that. But in terms of prorating of the signing bonus, remains in the team salary cap the players released prior to June 2nd. Okay, it's on the team's salary cap. Again, you're going to keep this recording for 1, 2, you have it in your notes. B, this definitely isn't, I keep saying that, but everything's on that. But this is a super duper question several different times on the exam. I'll just put it that way. Several different times you'll have to deal with questions about what remains on the players, on the team's salary cap, or how much salary cap counts against the salary cap for that team. Okay. Now, if he's released after June 1, that bonus, again, it accelerates to the next league year. Okay. Teams can release a maximum of 2 players under the salary cap. Okay. And again, entire current salary remains until June 2nd. Current year team salary cap is removed on June 2nd unless it's guaranteed. And the guarantee is only, as you already know, for skill, injury, and cap. Okay, if a player is traded, no sign of proration goes to the new team. Okay, so a couple guys got traded this past spring. This past spring, but the signing bonus does not go to the new team. That means the old team still got to pay him. How about that? Go ahead, Reggie. Reggie, you had a question?
Yeah, I was on mute. Help me make a distinction or how I can wrap my mind around that. That June 2nd, June 1st thing just really tripped me up last year because it's almost like I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's like a player released prior to June 2nd, which would be June 1st or before, right? So it's like an oxymoron type combination.
Yeah, so on the exam, the distinction wise, okay, the distinction wise is going to be based on the signing bonus and the cap space and or the cap hit. Okay, those are the three different things. What's going to happen on the exam in terms of that June 1st and June 2nd designation. Okay, so if the question is talking about what is going to be his cap hit if he is traded to the Baltimore Ravens, and again, they'll give you a whole bunch of fluff and stuff about his $20 million signing bonus, play with the team for 7 years, blah, blah, blah. And then he's got traded to the Baltimore Ravens from the Dallas Cowboys, but they traded him on June 1st. What is going to be the cap hit for the Baltimore Ravens? And it's going to be, well, nothing, because that money is going to go to the Cowboys. They're going to pay that, not me, or not basically not the.
So I guess I think you making it click for me. So the June 2nd is whether it stays with this team or goes to the next team. The June 1st is whether it's going to be charged this year or next year.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Now that makes.
Hey, repeat that, Reggie. Repeat that.
So I get it now. So the June 2nd is the determination whether, like, if I get traded from Atlanta to New York, whether it stays with the team that he's with or goes to the new team is the June 2nd date. So if it's released prior to June 2nd, then it stays with the team he's with. After June 2nd, it goes with the new team. And the June 1st is if it was released after June 1st, then it goes into the next year's, it's charged in the next year. If it's before June 1st, it's charged in this league year.
Right. And so your question determination and verbiage will say like June 9th. They'll be like, okay, he was released on June. And again, they're not going to talk about, they're not going to make it too easy, but they're going to say, oh, this player was released on June 9th. This is what his salary was. His P5 was this. He played in X amount of games. He was on injured reserve. Again, a bunch of fluff and stuff. So you got to filter through the fluff and stuff and be like, well, wait a minute. Okay, well, June 9th, oh, well, then that means that bonus is going to be carried to the 2026. You see what I'm saying? If it was 2025, it's going to be the following year. So giving you determination between June 1st and June 2nd, again, the NFLPA exam is not about tripping you up. It's about making sure you understand what those dates mean. So it's not, again, they're not going to say released after June 1st. They're going to say he was released on June 9th. And so June 9th is not prior to June 2nd. So you're like, oh, well, that money going to be carried on to next year. But if they release him on May, 15th. Well,
all right, and so not only that, so it's two caveats. So it's going to be carried to next year, but also to the new team.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. And if it was before, he's released before June 1st, or just say he's released in May, then it's going to stay with this team, and it's going to be for this cap year.
Yeah, and then on the exam, it'll say it'll stay with the originating team. It'll stay with his original team or the team name. Like you said, from the Falcons to New York, it'll stay with the Falcons.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Okay. Listen, lastly, so again, some of the stuff we've already talked about, player contract, renegotiations. These are the types of negotiations. And again, the types are the things that you want to, again, keep in your memory Rolodex as well as everything. The types are the contract restructures, pay cuts, and then contract extensions. Now, even though those are three different types, you may get a renegotiation including all three of those things, because as you know, it's done. Well, hey, I want to get more people on the team. We got to add more, bring in more veterans. So we need to find more money. So of course that's going to be restructuring. So, but I got to tell Travis Kelce, hey, bro, can you take a little bit less money, but we'll extend your signing bonus. We'll give you this much, or we can prorate it a little bit longer. Which again is the life of the contract, which is up to 5 years, but we'll give it to you right now, right? So even though, and I think he did just get an extension of 2 more years. Yeah, it didn't sound like much, but 2 years is a lot. So changing the terms of the payment of signing bonus qualifies as a renegotiation. Okay, now these are areas that cannot be renegotiated. Cannot. Terms of contracts from the prior league year and the contracts of a current season after the last regular season game of that season. Okay, so this would be this 2024. What you cannot renegotiate during this 2024 season, even after the last regular season game of this season. Okay, any increase of salary usually is the base salary. Yes, I know. Usually is the base salary that occurs in renegotiation or extension after 4 p.m. on the Monday of the 10th week, okay, of the regular season, is treated as a signing bonus. Okay, so even if it's in the base salary, okay. Rookie players drafted. I know we're 12 in. Rookie players drafted can't negotiate until after the third regular season. We've talked about that. Undrafted rookies can't negotiate until after the end of their second regular season, which is the end of 2024, or the 2023 draft class. So you keep those things in mind. Veterans can't renegotiate until after the salary cap during their 12 months, except the first renegotiation can occur at any time, right? And this is for veteran players. So a veteran player basically is somebody like, say they're on their second contract. They're on a second contract. Before they get to their third contract, they can negotiate at any time, whether it be week 1, week 8, week 12, week 14. If they like, for example, if they get a renegotiation, this is a quick throw out. If they get a renegotiation, or if they get their first renegotiation in December of 2024, when can they renegotiate their next renegotiation if they're unhappy?
Wait, can you repeat that question one more time?
So if a veteran player on his first renegotiation renegotiates his contract in, let's say, week 14 in December of 2024, he renegotiated a 4-year deal. When can he renegotiate his, if he wants to renegotiate again? When can he renegotiate?
January of 2025.
Very good, right?
After.
Yep, 12 months after. Absolutely. So now you see what type of, again, this is a question that is on the exam. Now you can see where those questions fall in place of how they apply to that 12-month rule. You dig what I'm saying? So again, keep it in mind. First, renegotiation for a veteran player, not a rookie player. The rookie deal, first round, gets four years with a option in that 5th year. Team picks up that option. Now they picked up the option to have him in that 5th year. After that's over, then they're going to negotiate and or franchise tag him for his next contract, which means he may get a 1-year deal in his 6th season. However, if they say, you know what, let's sign him for the next 5 years. Well, now he's signed from year 6, 5 years, so 11 years. And then when it's time for them to renegotiate, he can renegotiate at any time within those 6 years. And then after that, he has to wait at least 12 months before he renegotiate again. You guys follow that? You understand what I'm saying?
Actually, I'm lost on this one, to be honest. Okay, so here's my question is what constitutes his first contract, or his first veteran contract, I should say, as soon as go ahead.
No, don't say it. Good.
Okay, so what constitutes his first veteran contract? Is it the first contract after his rookie deal is completed? Then that is would be his veteran contract?
Absolutely. Because remember, the rookie deals are a maximum of how many years for first round guys?
4, 5.
Maximum of 5. Right, 5, but it's a 5th year option at the club's discretion, unless he was drafted in the 2nd through 7th rounds. And a rookie drafted in the 2nd through 7th round is a maximum of 4 years. Mm-hmm. Right. So then after that contract, now he's negotiating his next contract, was now he's going to be a veteran contract. Okay. So
and if he's an undrafted free agent, if he was undrafted, then he becomes a veteran after the 3rd year.
Right. Absolutely. So you got to think of, again, for your memory recall, you're recalling if anything that's undrafted, that's a maximum of 3 years. Anything that's a drafted player, depending on which round he's in, it's a maximum of 4 or 5 years. Anything after that, he's going to be negotiating as a veteran contract. And now when he negotiates that contract for his veteran contract, that's his first, that's his negotiation of that contract. That's not a first renegotiation. That's a first negotiation of a veteran contract. Okay, Johnny, does that make sense? So after the rookie year is a regular veteran's contract. That's a negotiated contract. That's now he becomes a veteran. You dig?
Got it.
Okay.
After wait. So after, sorry, man, I'm just like, it's a lot. So so his second contract is his veteran contract.
Yes, that's it.
So that's his. So then his third contract would be his renegotiation contract?
No, don't confuse it. After the rookie deal, when you're in the negotiating part, you're as a veteran contract, that second contract, you got that right. After the rookie is a veteran, right? So you're negotiating. That means that's great. The team wants to keep him. Hey, let him play some more time. Now that's his second contract. However, that's his first veteran contract. Now that veteran.
Okay,
contract,
stop. So right there, that first contract, right? His first veteran contract, is that the contract where he can renegotiate at any time?
Now, after he signs that contract. So after he signs that contract, he can negotiate. And this is about renegotiating, not negotiating. It's renegotiation. So
got it.
Renegotiation means you've already negotiated the second contract. So you see what I'm saying? So the second contract, so after he's drafted in the 5th round, right? So that's 4 years. So then at the end of that 4 years, after the end of that 3rd year, they want to say, hey, we want to keep him for the next 5 years. So now that 5 years is going to start on year 5. Okay, so all right, because you got to go through year 4. If you negotiated in year 3, that means you got to play that year 4. Then that next 5-year contract is going to be the next 5 years. And now within those 5 years, they'd be like, man, it It's a lot of people coming to this game. Y'all AR, you're all revenues. Y'all making 10 times as much as you were making when I first signed this deal. I want to renegotiate. Okay, in year 3, let's renegotiate. Especially if you are productive and you're in the top 10, you can do stuff like that. You got a little leeway, like Aaron Donald would have, right?
Yeah.
So now you're renegotiating and saying, hey, I know I said these 5 years, but I want more money. Now we have to renegotiate what we already negotiated.
Got it.
Does that make sense? You dig now?
Yes.
Okay.
And just to add a layer to that, so after that, after Aaron Donald, we'll use that example. When he goes back for more money, and they agree to it, now he can't ask for more money until after that 12-year time period elapsed.
12 months. 12 months.
12 months. Yeah, 12 months. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There you go. I'm sorry, Tony, go ahead. You got a question or a statement?
Yeah. So could you do a skeleton or example of like a Pat Mahomes or Jordan Love right now in that renegotiation? Because like they get credited, accrued, because obviously Pat didn't play his first years, and same with Jordan Love.
Let's see if I can pull this up right quick. Yeah, because Patrick renegotiated, and that was where I got Chris Cabot and Lee Steinberg, one of my mentors. Let's see here. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. I mean, that one is going to be, I already know that's going to be a lot. But it really breaks down. Yeah, I'm seeing it here. So he's got 6 more years on that. There's a cap hit. Let me see if I can find where this restarted. So this is 2023, 2024.
Because like what Johnny was saying in regards to like the veterans. So for example, Jordan Love, he didn't play. Now he's starting to play. So what classifies him as a veteran for a second renegotiation?
Well, okay. Really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that Jordan Love situation, just like you were saying, he can now again his rookie contract. When did that start? Let me just look that up right here, actually. Because I'm already in this. It's okay to go. So Jordan Love, this started in 23.
Because I assume their AR went down when Aaron Rodgers left.
23, 4, 5, and 6. Well, this is his second. This definitely is his second one. Oh, yeah. See, you were talking about those guys, and I see these notes in here. Because then there's also escalators, which we're not there as of yet. So looking at his contract notes, there's signing bonus plus his salary plus his 2024 salary. His 2025, 6 and 7 years automatically voided 23 days before the start of the 2025 league year. And then I see on here something about the escalators, and he's got some statistical escalators. Again, the number one thing on the exam won't be this in depth because this is chopping it up a lot. The main thing that this could be for is basically what Johnny was saying earlier in terms of which year would be, or which month and year would be his renegotiation based on some of that type of fluff and stuff, is to say, okay, if we started here looking at his escalators, which is 65% regular season snaps, plus a playoff berth, he gets another $500,000 that says earned. One playoff win with 65% of the snaps, he gets another $500,000. A conference title win, 65% of the snaps, he gets $1 million. If he wins the Super Bowl and plays 65% of the snaps, he'll get another $1 million. Those are some playoff escalators because it's not that much for everyone else. Keeping that in mind, when those things are on the negotiated side, again, they can't renegotiate until after 12 months, right? So this started in 2023 and 4 salary, 25,
year
6,
three?
and 7. What's that?
So that was at the end of year 3.
Yeah. And then and he'll be 25 years. He started at 25, so this year he'll be 26. And then
I'm
if he
following.
wanted, and then if he wanted to renegotiate that contract, again, he'd have to wait. Well, he wouldn't be able to do it until 12 months after. And again, that may not be until 2025 is when he would want to renegotiate if he wanted to or initiate that contract. Okay. Now, let me go back. Let me see if I can get to talk about that. So, again, because this stuff is going to be needed for next week, but minimum salaries and split contracts, as Johnny talked about. Oh, I'm sorry, Reggie. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Reggie. Go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah, and it's probably a question that everybody had. I mean, we kind of jumped into the meat of the class, and everything's been good. And I'm looking at the time, but definitely next week and going forward, I was hoping we would get an opportunity to go over the quiz questions. I really like the fact patterns; those are some really good questions. But I wanted you to kind of go through them and break them down, because these questions are very, very similar to what we saw in the exam last year.
Absolutely. Yeah, and definitely we will definitely jump into that more next week. Today, we're almost done, but when I finish up with what I'm doing today, I'm actually gonna break down one of the questions that everybody got wrong, just as an example, just so you guys can see. But it's important because it highlights the one thing that everybody was missing, and I hope I can make it a little bit clearer when we get done. So let me finish this part. I'm gonna go over that one. I'm gonna release your answers to you tonight. Then you guys will have them, and then next week we'll do the same thing. I will try to allot a little bit more time. I'm only gonna try to answer the ones because again, I can't even tell you how much information there is, but I'm gonna answer the ones that everyone got wrong versus the ones you all got right. Does that make sense? Is that good? Okay. And again, some of that stuff is going to be answered when we go over the content as well anyway, right? So minimum salaries, as Johnny talked about earlier, page what?
171.
171, Article 26. There's an up amount and then there's a down amount, okay? You definitely want to be negotiating for your client to have the up amount as fully guaranteed as much as you possibly can. I don't know that first one. But you definitely want to try to get as much as you possibly can as good contract language. Okay. If you haven't gotten that, and I didn't see that in this year's source documents, but you will be getting what's good language or bad language. For those that you were already in the exam from last year, you probably still have that. But in split contracts, you definitely want to be in the up amount. Okay. You definitely want to be in the up amount. A lot of times teams will, that'll be in signals, which you haven't gotten those yet because we haven't finished all negotiations, but in signals, you'll be able to see sometimes it's tied to credited seasons, right? So even if a guy's been drafted, which is what signals is for anyway, drafting signals, if it says based on 2 credited seasons, they'll get X amount of dollars. They'll get more, okay? So, and again, it depends on what is, you'll be able to see that on the signals. But in split contracts, there's an up amount and a down amount. If he's injured, more likely he's going to be on that down amount. You definitely don't want to be in that down amount for too long. Definitely if you get on IR, which is, again, it could be the rest of the whole season. But you definitely want to try to get a higher split salary negotiated, but it rarely occurs. And that's Article 26, okay, Section 1B, okay? Preseason split is the best split. On a 53-man roster, player receives a higher salary regardless of what occurs afterwards, okay? Getting into preseason. And again, for your management purposes as an agent, let your players know they get paid, but they don't get paid in preseason, right? So they get paid, but they don't get them dollars until they A, get cut, or B, if they make it through preseason and then they play in that first game, all of the money that they made in preseason and their game check will all be in that one check. Well, split because it's half. Okay. But that's how the preseason split is the best split. A full split up and down, which again is the worst split. Player receives a higher salary for the weeks he is on the 53-man roster, and then he's on the lower salary if he's not on the 53-man roster. So that would mean, sorry about that typo, that would mean he gets put on the practice squad, right? If he gets put on the practice squad in that time frame, he is going to get that lower amount. Okay. Signing bonus prorated equally over the length of the contract. We talked about that.
Wait, I have a question for. Oh, sorry, I was supposed to raise my hand.
Nope, go ahead.
The split contract. What leverage? What type of content or information do you give to the team in order to get the best split?
So historically, and now again, this is off the exam topic, but historically, what's going to happen at that point, it depends on A, when your guy gets drafted, B, looking at as an agent, looking at the trends. Typically, they use 5 years. Some people do more, but typically the previous 5 years, and then that'll help you with your negotiation. Okay, so if there's a player on there and say he was, he's a running back, right? And he comes in with having, let's just say 3,000 yards. Say he has 3,000 yards rushing from his collegiate days, right? And then the previous 5 years, the 5 running backs that were drafted only had 1,700 yards rushing. Just say as an average. Well, now you can come back to the team and say, well, based on my guy coming in versus what you've had before, he definitely has been productive through college. He's probably going to be just as productive as a pro. So now you can use that leverage and look at the statistical data analysis and be like, okay, we want this much more dollars. You dig what I'm saying? So now you're talking about negotiating wise. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at the Article 26 is minimum salaries. Minimum. That's not maximum. So you can, again, you say what your question was based on, well, how kind of leverage, how to use that? Well, depending on what your guy does. So if he was drafted in, say, the 3rd round, and you're looking at the previous 5 years and those guys that they've had that were productive only were drafted in the 4th through 7th rounds, well, you have a little bit more leeway to say, hey, my guy should get X amount of dollars. Because eventually they're going to be like, no, but we'll break even. We'll say, how about this? You see what I'm saying? So that's part of your negotiation tactic. But again, that won't be on the test. Here is the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Signing bonus. We talked about that. Player could receive the full amount immediately. Renegotiation could present 2 bonus prorations. Remember, as we talked about, there are like roster bonuses. Again, if it's after a certain time, it could be treated as a signing bonus. That's why when we talk about signing bonus, it could be 2 different bonuses, whether it be one a signing bonus or it could be a roster bonus, active bonus, workout bonus, depending on when your contract says that is. That could be counted as a bonus as well. But he could get it immediately. Okay? Could get it immediately. Option roster reporting bonuses. They are treated like signing bonuses prorated at the beginning in the year. The option is exercised. Okay, so we talked about Jordan Love earlier. You cannot exercise options that haven't happened yet. Okay, so the proration is not going to happen immediately. It's going to happen when that renegotiated year starts. right? So right now we're in, just as an example, 24, 25, 26 for an undrafted free agent. He's an undrafted guy. But then again, when we negotiate his new contract, or I would say negotiate his new contract, you want to look at that in terms of when the negotiated year starts. So in 20, I said 3, 4, 5. So then let's say 26, 7, and 8, even though we're on a new contract in the second year is when this gets negotiated, which again, this is why I can't confuse people. If it's a 3-year contract for an undrafted free agent that negotiates it in the second year and they give him an extension of 3 years, he still got to play his third year. And then the 3 years that he negotiated, the proration starts on that year 1 after the third year. I know that was a lot. Did y'all get that? I hope so. Does that make sense? Everybody get that? Did everybody there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll follow.
Daryl, Tony, you got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
It doesn't take effect until that second comes around.
No, sorry, Daryl.
Yeah, I was saying it doesn't take effect until that second one comes around.
Absolutely. What were we gonna say, Tony?
But aren't all rookies deemed likely to be earned under the rookie contract?
So no, we're gonna talk about that. And hopefully we're gonna get to the end. And I apologize for going a little bit over time, but we're gonna talk about that when we get to that question that I want to answer for everybody else, okay? But I'm gonna answer that, but the answer is no, that is not. Because it depends on if a guy gets hurt and all that kind of stuff too. Okay. NLTB, not likely to be earned. Bonuses count when they are earned. If it's not likely to be earned, okay, and he earns it, okay, it counts right then, right? That's what the NLTBE means. Reporting bonuses prorated equally if guaranteed. When is a guarantee? What counts as a guarantee? What counts as a guarantee?
I know skill is one of them. Skill is 3 things. Oh God.
Yeah.
Help me out, fellas. I know skill is one of them.
It's sick. Don't worry. It's sick. And I mean sick by SIC. You got skill. What's the I?
Injury.
Yeah.
Injury is 1.
Yep.
Should know this.
Daryl. They throwing a lifeline, Daryl.
I can't remember. Skill, injury.
You know what we're talking about. Tony. SIC.
SIC.
Boy, y'all definitely need to stop it. I know that much. You better stop the C. You know the kids say that these days. Stop the C.
Cap.
There you go. Skill, injury, and cap. So you heard me. I know I'm doing too much. I was like, the kids still say that these days. Skill, injury, and stop the cap. So reporting bonuses are prorated equally only if guaranteed. A guarantee means skill, injury, and cap. Okay. Reporting bonuses are included in the salaries. Okay. Signing bonus accelerations. June 1st is important to remember, which we definitely talked about that a lot earlier. Thanks to Reggie and his question for sure. Familiarize yourself with Article 13, Section 6. Same rules apply if cut and traded. New teams won't acquire the bonus proration depending on when they get cut. Remember that. Veteran salary cap number. Numerous components make up the salary cap number, especially obviously AR, reporting bonuses, and all that kind of stuff. The difference between the cap number and the salary. Know that. add those components to get the cap number. Okay. This is the last slide. Then I'm going to get to this question today. Oh my God. So I appreciate you guys. Rookie compensation and compensation pool. Familiarize yourself with Article 7. Definitely, this stuff is on the test. I know this is part of your reading, but definitely familiarize yourself. Keep reading it over and over and over and over again, just so you know it. Draft rookies must sign a 4-year contract. Know how to calculate the 25% increase rule. That increase on the exam is the only thing that matters. It's not going to say 8% increase. It's not going to be like, hey, tell me the 11%. No, it's going to be calculate the 25% increase based on the signing bonus when a guy was drafted in 2025. And then you'll know that the minimum salary for 2025, somebody already knows, is
840.
840, right? So that's where you start with your signing bonus and your P5, and then you'll be able to calculate all that. Okay, know where to find the salaries. We know from Johnny on page 171, Article 26, and then of course the snapshot way. I know you guys have heard this already before. If you look at the rookie pool number, is 5.5 equals a deal, but that is really just a backup for you to know for yourself. Now, let me get to this one question. I need to turn on this tablet, and I apologize. I'm going to have to go back and forth. Now, does anybody have any questions as of right now based on that?
I don't. And you might have said it earlier. Are we getting a copy of these slides that we went over tonight?
Absolutely, yeah. They're going to be in the recording for sure. These are all going to be in the recording for sure. And then you'll be able to look at the notes and all that kind of stuff that you guys have too.
Is there a way you can email us the slides?
Yes, absolutely. I will put them in a thing so everybody can grab them. So it doesn't tie up too much of your stuff. Okay, where are we? Look at this question. This was a question that came up, and everybody got it wrong. And the frequency of the wrong answers was really based on just a few little things that guys missed and did not pick up on. So it will be a gimme for those that have not turned in their quiz as of yet. Okay, where are we? Blah, 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 blah. No. Okay, I'm going to have to go into here. Oh, here we go. All right, so I'm going to double tap here. Copy, paste, bing, bang, boom. And then we're going to increase this so everybody can read this question. Okay. All right. Oh, no, go back. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to open this tab here. So let me go back and thank you guys for your patience. Again, I just want to make sure this makes sense for everybody. Okay, so there's one question that tripped everybody up a little bit, and I want to make sure I go over this one specifically because it looks like the same thing everyone was doing. Okay, so the question is, Malcolm Payne signed a 2-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys in March of 2021. The deal has a $3.5 million signing bonus and a $3.25 million base salary that was fully guaranteed for skill injury and stop the cat.
Yeah.
And a $797,875 roster bonus where he receives $46,875 for each time he's on the game day roster. Malcolm was only on the Houston Texans active roster during week 6 of 2020 season against the Atlanta Falcons, period. He was inactive for every other week last season. That means 2021. Malcolm was 19. Malcolm was inactive for 7 weeks with the Ravens during the 2019 season. In 2018, Malcolm was active for 13 games. What is Malcolm's 2021 salary cap number? Now, I'm going to pray and hope that this works. Where is my computer? Okay. So I need to open up a Jamboard. Make sure everybody can see this. Okay, you guys here, you see the question, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Everybody there? Okay. Now, I know what everybody is. Someone needs access to, so you can't see anyone access with the, wait, let me see something. Yeah, there we go. Okay, can you guys see this blank tab that's in front of me? I'm assuming. Yes, you
Yes.
can. Yeah, okay, good.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Okay. So, for what we know, okay, March of 2021, we know his P5 salary.
3.25.
Okay. Well, I need to clear this so I can see. Go away. Start here. Okay. So the P5 was 3.25 million, right? So the P5 is 3.25 million. And then we know that the roster bonus, this is gonna be crazy looking. I hate this already. Okay, we know the roster bonus was how much?
796,875.
Okay, 796, 875. Okay, which is based on 17 games, which is where they said that the 46,875 came from. Okay, that's on 17 games, right? Now, that is the things that we do know, right? Now, the question that was asked was, what is Malcolm's 2021 salary cap number? Okay, now this 2-year deal in 2021, he's got $3.5 million signing bonus. Okay, so we know that we're going to have to prorate that signing bonus through the life of the deal, right? So we prorate that signing bonus, which is 1.75 million. Okay, that's the signing bonus. Now, the signing bonus is prorated over the life of the deal, which is only 2 years. So that's 2021. Okay, everybody follow me so far? Everybody follow me so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. His P5 salary is 3.25 million. So I'm just going to put 3,250,000. Okay. Now, if you again remember the question, let me flip back to the question. The question says, in the question, it says, Malcolm was only on the roster during the 2020 season one time against the Atlanta Falcons. Okay. And he was inactive every week last season. And he was inactive 7 weeks during the 2019 season. And in 2018, he was only active for 13 games. Now that, again, you see the question, okay? Now, again, decipher where the fluff and stuff is. because there's a lot of fluff and a lot of stuff in here. We are talking about a 2-year deal starting what year?
In March in 2021.
Right. So in March of 2021 is when the deal started. When you're accounting for bonuses, excuse me, I apologize. When you're accounting for bonuses likely to be earned is based on the year prior to the contract signed. So when was this year? When was the contract signed?
2021.
So what's the year before 2021?
2020.
2020. And in 2021, he receives how much for each game that he's on the active roster?
46,875.
Right. So now in 2021, how the salary cap goes, if I can get back to, okay, where we are, Jamboree. All right. So the 2021 salary is 3.25. So that is, oh, here we are. Okay, that is $5 million. Okay, 1.75 is his proration of his signing bonus, plus his P5 salary is 3.25 million. That's where we got the 5 million. Now that plus, now this is what we're talking about, the 2025 cap hit. Now he is most likely to be earned in 2021 one game on the active roster, because that's what he was on in 2020. So that's where we add
46,875.
Exactly. That's where we add the 46,785, and that's where we get the answer of, oh my gosh, go away. That's where we get the answer of 5,046,875.
Wait,
So
you
do you
sure I
guys-
got that? Are you sure I got that wrong? I think that was my answer.
is that your answer? You got? Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, unless I changed it last minute, but that's how I came
Yeah.
up with
Oh,
my
yeah.
answer.
You got it right. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, you got it right. But again, this is the one that the most frequent answer that everyone missed. Okay, and I want to make sure everybody understands how we get to that number. Because everybody got that so far.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you go back? Can you go back to the question? I have a question.
Yep.
If you can go back to the question,
Absolutely.
where I was actually a bit thrown off by where it says he was active for every other week last season, and I was like, what does that mean? What does last season mean? Why? How come there's no year?
No,
So-
right. Exactly. So again, we're talking about from the start. Signed a 2-year deal in March of 2021. So as you decipher through the fluff and stuff, as he says, he was inactive for every other week last season. Now remember, what we're talking about is last season was the previous sentence that says he was only on the Houston, Texas active roster during week 6. See that?
Yeah.
So, and that's of 2020 season against the Falcons. So remember, we're signing this in 2021. It just tells you that 2020 season, he was only during week 6. So that's one game. Now, the next sentence, he was inactive for every other week last season. So last season from 21 is 2020. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they're talking about. But again, what you're looking at is great, Tony, because that's what we mean by you got to decipher through the fluff and stuff. Like,
So that's fluff.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else on here is a bunch of fluff, because what you know or should know as the question pertains to what's his 2021 salary cap? What you have to already know how to do is prorate the signing bonus, the life of the contract. And the life of this contract is how many years?
2.
Right. So that's where the signing bonus gets divided up into that 1.75 million. You dig what I'm saying? And you know the P5, well, for at least 2021 is 3.25 million. Okay. Now you know that's guaranteed. That's it. Bam, boom, pow. That's all you need to know right there. Now, the $796,875 roster bonus, that's the total amount for 1 year in 2021. So if he made it on every single game, all 17 games, that's how much he would get. However, individual games is based on likely to be earned. And the previous year is what counts as for likely to be earned for the next year. So that's where you got to know the likely to be earned. And again, it's in that reading too, but the LTBE and then that NLTBE, okay, which is not likely to be earned, right? So in this case scenario, if the verbiage was changed a bit and it said he also got a $500,000 for gaining 500 or 5,000 yards passing. That's not likely to be earned. You dig? Because he, even though it's in his contract, he didn't have any passing yards the previous year, so that's really not likely to be earned. So you can't count that. You see what I'm saying? That's not likely to be earned because he didn't do that in the previous year. Now, if it said in 2020 he threw for 7,000 yards, well, then now it is likely to be earned. You guys follow that?
Yes.
Does that make sense? Tony, Daryl, you there?
Yes, it has to be done in the past to be considered.
No,
likely.
no, not the past, the previous year.
Oh, previous year.
Okay, yeah, so don't let that trip you up because, again, this fluff and stuff talked about in 2018, he was only active for 13 games. And then it continues to give you more fluff and say, well, in 2019, he was inactive for 7 games, which means he only played in 9 games. You see what I'm saying? So 18 and 19, none of that doesn't even matter.
Yep.
What matters is what happened in 2020.
Right.
Everybody got that?
Yes. Hey, I have one question in regards to salary. So refresh my memory. I haven't seen this information in a bit. So 18 weeks, 17 are paid, 1 week is bye, so that bye week is non-paid.
No. You get paid 8. So remember, it's the total is 36 weeks.
Correct.
Why is it a total of 36? 36, half of 36 is 18.
18.
18 is how many weeks there are. However, 1 is a bye week. So you get paid during the bye week. And that's a great question, but you got to remember on the exam, it's going to be like, okay, he was injured in weeks 4, 5, and 6. And then the bye week came in 7, and then he was on the active roster for the rest of the season. What's the salary cap number? Well, then again, you got to remember 1 and 2, he was on the active roster. And then from 7 to 18 is when he gets paid. You see what I'm saying? So that was a great question. And you got to always keep in mind there's 18 pay periods that are split in 2 to get 36.
So why do we divide the 796,875 roster bonus by 17 games?
But of those 17 games. So that's the 17th or 18th game. 17th game started in, I want to say 21. Yeah, I think it started in 21. Because before there were 16 games.
Oh, got it.
You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, the
Yeah.
17 game stuff didn't start until, like I said, I think it's 2021 is when
The new CBA, I think.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
his original contract was in 2018.
Okay, so now for the this July, the exam for this July, it should, I mean, unless they try to go pre 2020 CBA, I mean, everything should be divided by 18.
Right, exactly. So
Okay.
again, just like Tony was just doing, you better make sure you pay attention to the words that are in the paragraph of the question.
Right. Okay.
You know, so again, remember those dates. Again, so some things you're gonna need to know, and some things you're gonna have to know.
Right.
Like you're gonna have to know that there's 18 weeks now, and there's 36 pay periods.
Got it.
Okay, Tony, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I think I misspoke when I was talking about the likely to be earned for the rookies in the sense of that's guaranteed. That's just against the cap with the rookie compensation, Article 7, right?
Right.
The compensation pool.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I was making sure. I just want to clarify.
Okay. All right. Okay. Everybody got that? Daryl, Reggie,
Yes, sir. I'm
got it?
clear.
Tony?
Cap.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right, guys. Appreciate you all. That is going to conclude our week 1 session. Again, the session, it'll take about, it usually be about a few hours, but at least by tomorrow afternoon, the recording will be available. I'm going to stop all this now. The recording will be available. The email, so I know it's 10:30, so you probably already got the email with the reading assignments and stuff that came out. So another email is going to go out tonight, as well as I'm going to release those that finished their quizzes. If you have not finished the quiz as of now, as of leniency, I definitely want you to go in there and take the quiz and submit the quiz. Okay. If you have trouble submitting the quiz, please reach out to me, either by text or call or whatever. But you should be able to go in there and submit the quiz. Make sure you sign in with your email address, submit the quiz, make sure you finish up. If you have not already, I think everyone's done their written assignment. If you haven't, get that written assignment done because there's going to be more at the end this week. Okay. I'm going to make sure I put the quiz out there. You guys have the reading assignment. I'm going to put the quiz out there on Friday. You have from Friday until Tuesday to take that quiz. But make sure you do the reading assignment. Guys, please keep in mind for the next, and with your families as well. I know it's a lot. And you guys have real jobs. You have families. You got other things to be doing. For the next 10 to 12 weeks, just let them know you are gung-ho. You got to get this studying done. Like it's a given. There's absolutely no way to guess on this exam. There's no way. I know it's open book, but I'm telling you, there's no way to actually guess. Okay. Tony, you have a good question.
How much would you say that you were looking back at your CBA when you took it?
Listen, Lee Anthony is not on here. He was in our class. He failed. But he was in the exam with me. I have undiagnosed narcolepsy. He saw me fall asleep during the exam. he actually hit me. He was like, "Hey man, oh, thank you, man." I did not look at it a lot. I did not. But that's me, not you. Okay, that's just me. There was a lot of stuff I'd already known. Okay, I'm also CFL certified. I've been in this industry. I've been in this sports agent game for like 20 some years. So I've been learning from a guy named Lee Steinberg and Chris Cabot, my boy out of Philadelphia, where I used to be as well. So I learned a little bit. I consumed a lot of info. Okay, and then I got a bunch of good tips, which are the tips and stuff that I'm giving you guys too. But in terms of that, I flip back and forth to see, I did not do a lot because it was a lot, dude. It was a lot. It's a lot. I'm telling you, it's again. Giving you guys these quizzes that are timed, I'm only doing it so you get a sense of this is how fast like this stuff goes. Like it goes that fast.
Yeah, I was just curious because it almost seems like it's a distraction versus anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean it is unless you like Johnny and you can be like, hey, I know page 171. Hey, I know page 101. Matter of fact, I'm looking at my thing. I know the mini camp is on page 155. Unless you got a photographic memory like Johnny Cruz, yeah, it definitely is gonna be distracting. Especially when
I don't have a photographic memory, but I will say this: page 171. If there's I would say is the most important page to know for the exam is page 171. Like that determines a lot of the questions, and just trust me, you're gonna need to know 171.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to give you guys I would call it a cheat sheet, a main sheet. I'm going to give you a little sheet that has the terms and CBA. Actually, you probably just got it in that email. If you look on there, there's an attachment, and that attachment has a PDF of the terms and CBA terms. But you have that as a reference. And if you haven't already got a 3-ring binder, I should highly suggest you either 3-ring binder it. I mean, what I did with mine was I had mine spiral bound. I got a bunch of these spiral bounds. I literally brought all these with me. And then I didn't even get to use them because I was like, oh my God, I need this. And then I got to the exam like crap. And again, making my tallies, I'm like, oh, damn, I'm on 30, 35 already. And then by the time I hit, okay, you know what? I need it for this. And that was really just to confirm what I already knew. Okay. All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. I appreciate you. If you guys anything else, you guys know how to get a hold of me, okay?
Sounds great. Great job. Good class tonight. All right, guys. Good luck.
All right, fellas, have a good night. Yep.
Good night.
Welcome.